I want a heart that forgives, a heart full of love, one with compassion just like yours.
Hello and welcome to TLC, Transforming Lives Continually. I am Sean Devines Daniel. On set with me is Mr. Michael Stewart, Chief Executive Officer. Executive Director. Yeah. I apologize.
It's all right.
Executive Director. You see, you wear so many hats. I get a bit confused sometimes. Of TLC, Executive Director of TLC. Yes. And Mr. Michael Stewart, you may have known him as a motivational speaker. He is a motivational speaker. I was also reading here where he's also a licensed marriage officer.
Yes, I am.
And an author, and that's just a few of the things, and also a counselor.
I like dabbling in plenty things.
You heard that, he loved dabbling in plenty things. I love that. So today, however, we'll be talking about 4 reasons why relationships fail and how you can make yours succeed. So we really want to get into this. But before we do that, Michael, as a counselor, you would experience people with relationship problems and that sort of thing. But also, you must have gone into your own personal life and pulled some stuff out to write this book. Tell us about you. We know that you're married. How many years have you been married?
Only 26 years.
Only 26 years. That's a milestone.
March 8th is our anniversary.
No, you don't look a day over 20-something. But I wouldn't ask how early or how young you were when you got married. But 26 years.
I went into that early.
Early, very good. And how many kids?
4 children.
4 children. Yes. Beautiful. So you're in the game. You know what's going on with relationships. Fantastic. So let's get into the meat of the story. 4 reasons. I see here you have poor choices. One of the reasons why relationships fail, poor choices. What are why poor choices?
Well, you know, sometimes we get into relationships. We are steering the issues of the relationship in our face. But we pre-digest the situation in the positive because we want to get into the relationship. Because what is in our head, everything we see answers to it.
Right.
So we digest the person as positive, even when there are obvious negatives.
Yeah.
In fact, we actually make excuses for the negative. If somebody comes and tells us something negative about the person or tells us something that they've uncovered about the person, if we go to the person and ask them, so-and-so said so-and-so, is that true? And the person says no, that satisfies us.
But you know, my grandmother used to say that when you meet somebody for the first time, or if you're dating somebody, you see all those signs, you know. You see the signs of who that person truly is there.
It's always there.
But it's like if we choose
that's right.
not to accept it, you know.
Are waiting for the phase after you've married to them for a number of years, that you have now changed your digestion of the person.
Yes.
That even when somebody tells you something positive about the person that you now have, because you are now looking at them negatively, you would not even accept the positive that they'll bring.
Right. And I see you have here to understand about the failing relationships. He said, let us accept that reason is the direct cause. Symptom is how the cause is manifested.
Right.
Explain that for me.
So we are talking about a reason and a symptom. Oftentimes we deal with the symptoms in the relationship.
Right.
So there's tension in between us. We quarrel a lot. It's not a reason for the relationship failing. Those are the symptoms of a relationship that has gone bad or is going bad. And we try to get rid of the quarrel itself, not realizing that there might be something itself that caused the quarrel that we need to seek. Because if we get rid of the headache by using Panadol, we get rid of the symptom. But we have not gotten rid of the tumor that caused the headache. And oftentimes we need to go into the relationship to find out what it is that is the real cause of our issues. And sometimes it's just that poor relationship, the poor choice that I made. You made your choice with somebody that was not the person that you should have made a religious person, marries a non-religious person,
Don't even
regardless
you.
of the advice that they've been told.
Yes.
Get into the relationship and try to force the person to be a churchgoer.
Right. To evangelize the
That-
person.
that's right.
Yes.
So you change the game along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen women marry men who smoke and who drink and party, and then they settle down, they get married and so on, and insist that he must stop smoking, must stop drinking, and must stop partying.
Right.
She's changing the rules on him.
Yes.
It was a poor choice in the first place.
Yes.
If that is not what you wanted in the long term, you should not have settled for it in the early time.
Definitely. And we see that all the time in relationships. Sometimes you may have a friend and you say, oh, I met this nice guy, and you ask certain questions as a friend. For example, as a Christian woman, is he saved? Well, and this is a true story. Well, he was baptized in
Yes.
something
Yes,
when
but-
he was 12.
Right, but he doesn't bother with it again anymore.
You know.
Right.
And she finds every excuse, but he nice.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's
You
right.
know, so we see
We
seeing
justify the situation that will later on
Yes.
give us a lot of hurt and frustration.
right. I see where here choose in haste on page 3, choose in haste and regret in leisure.
Yes.
Yes, that's exciting. Explain that.
You know, sometimes we are in a home as a young girl, a young man, we're in a home, and because we are unhappy
Yes.
with our home life, we get into relationships very hurriedly in order to be able to extricate ourselves from a dysfunctional home.
Right, yes.
And then we now marry the person, and we have all the time now to regret, and many times to return home.
It's like jumping from the frying pan into the fire.
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
That's right.
Right,
So-
yes.
So, don't make hasty decisions. Also, if you've come out from a broken relationship, don't rush into another one.
That's a rebound.
That's
That's
right.
the other question I was going to ask you.
Because you are not sober enough to make wise decisions. You are sometimes you are trying to avoid the pain of loneliness.
Right,
So
yeah.
anybody that comes along that has a certain measure of basic qualities, you settle for. And then after your pain has worn off, then you realize, I really don't love this person.
Yeah, what are some of the dangers of a rebound relationship?
Well, the danger of a rebound relationship is that when you get into it, somebody gets hurt and feels as though they were used.
Right.
Because actually, many times we are using the person in order to numb our pain.
Yes, we're medicating.
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Also, we are trying to tell the person who left us that you think you got somebody, don't think that you've left me alone. I found somebody.
Right, yes,
And it's
yeah.
not that this is the person I really wanted, but I couldn't bear them seeing me still mourning and groping after them.
Right. And also, you know, from time to time, I want to just keep pulling out stuff from this book. You talk about friend and spouse.
Yes.
You know, let me read a little bit from it. Who is a good friend and a confidant? So you look at that person. Another way some people make poor choices is to take someone who is a good friend and confidant, and think that marrying the person is the natural thing to do.
Right. There are some people, once they are friends, they are good enough as friends. They shouldn't, and just because they are friends with them doesn't mean that they are going to be a good lover.
Right, yes.
I've seen people marry friends and in the marriage couldn't stick each other, divorce and become good friends.
Good friends, yes,
The person
yes.
should have stayed as a good friend.
As a good friend.
Right?
mhm.
And so at another time we could talk about some of the qualities that you know which one is a really a lover
Right,
and which one is a
a
friend.
friend, right.
And which also tells me that there are two types of persons also in a relationship. For a man, you have the girlfriend material and the wife material. And with same thing with a woman, she has the type of man that she would want to settle down with and the type of man that she may not mind getting to know.
Right, yeah.
And so you need to know in your own heart which of the two that you have before you. Sometimes we like the fling, we like the flirting,
yes.
but we don't trust the same person that we flirt with because we don't have the confidence that they are going to settle down. So we like it, so we keep it. But it's not the person. So, you know, sometimes you're in a relationship with a girl and the girl is sworn that she's going to be the person she will marry. And the man marries somebody completely different.
Yes.
Because he rates, in particular the man, he rates women, either girlfriend or wife.
So girlfriend material or wife material.
That's right.
Right. Yes. And you also talk about on page 4. I like how you liken it to purchasing a car. Choosing who you choose. As in purchasing a car.
Yes.
You know, that person, how do you choose? You know, you talk about the reason for purchasing a vehicle.
Yes.
You know, what do you need it for?
Right, so it must be more than just that I want a car.
A car, right.
It must be, I need to understand the size of my family. I need to understand how much leg room I need.
Yes.
The size of car that I will need with my height, another person may not be able to fit into it.
Great, yeah.
So it's got to be compatibility. And this is where a helpmate, a person to complement me, comes in. It's not just because she's a woman, not just because the gentleman is a nice person, but does the person complement me? Does he meet the things that I would require in my life? And we do that with cars. We do that with its durability. We do that with its resale value. We do that with the capacity it has.
Yeah.
In a relationship, we need to be able to do that. What is it that I require in my life that this other person brings into my life that I can now settle for?
Great.
It must be more than a pretty face.
More than a pretty face or a buff body.
That's right.
Right. and you talk about investigating before investing.
That's right.
And it sounds like a business transaction.
Yes, and it is.
It is.
Because it's a long-term business. It's a contract.
It is a contract,
Right?
yes.
And so that marital contract, and even to the point that it probably not even a contract, a covenant that you are developing
Of
between
course.
two people. So if I'm going to travel overseas, I will call the airline and find out the price. I will also call competing airlines and see whether to see what is the price range, what's my best price. I'm going to find the destination, accommodation. I have all of that long before I travel. We do more in investigating things when we purchasing land, purchasing cars, traveling and so on, more than we do in investigation in relationships that we get into.
Great.
Sometimes you meet somebody, you hardly know the person, and before long you're in a relationship with the person, and then find out their faults and realize, my goodness, what have I gotten myself
Yeah.
into?
So this love at first sight thing,
No,
that's a no-no. That's only in the movies, right?
Yes.
That's only in the
Love
movies.
comes from knowledge.
Right.
We love God. The more we know God, the greater we love God.
Yes.
And so if you want to say that you love somebody, you've got to know them. And it is over that period of time,
Spending
getting to
time
know
with
that
them,
you can
yes.
truly say you love them. So when
Definitely.
somebody just meet you on the road and say, oh God, girl, I love you, and they just met you,
Yes,
you know that
yeah.
they're fooling.
Right.
But of course, it's flattering.
It's flattery, yes, of course. Chapter 3, you talk about mixed expectations, and I love that because I'll let you explain mixed expectations. I really wanted to say something about this because you meet couples and she would say after she gets married to the guy, but I don't want children.
Yes.
But did you say that? So let's talk a bit about mixed expectations.
That's why during the courtship, people must spend the time talking and
talking about the relevant things.
yes, leave the back seat of the cars,
Right.
and just sit down to talk. Use the front seat, talk, and share and explain what are your views, what are your wishes, what your desire in life, and so on. So you might have a guy who comes from a family, his mother dotes over him, washes his clothes, feeds him, and so on. He comes into a relationship and he thinks his wife is going to do the same thing. She came from a more independent family where that didn't take place. Or she does not plan on doing that. She plans on going to work, coming back home. If there's food in the house, fine. If there's no food in the house, well, bye till the next morning. You come into a relationship and he has expectations, she has expectations, and find out that those expectations clash.
Great,
And that's what we
yeah.
call a mixed expectation, because we never did discuss what's going to take place there. She gets married and she is anxious for children. He doesn't plan on having children so early. He probably wants to go and study. But she is so upset that she's not having children. He's away studying and she's alone at home.
Right.
Did we discuss that so that the expectations were thing? And that is what causes the relationship to break down. Use of money, as far as whether the man alone holds the money or there's shared responsibility with the money. And sometimes a man thinks that I'm the one to handle the money, and a woman thinks that nothing is wrong. I'm the better money person, and I could account better for money. And we never did discuss that.
Yes.
And before you know it, we had loggerheads.
Even simple thing as who's going to pay the telephone bill?
That's right.
And he might say, well, you spend more time on the phone.
Yes.
You know, so these are really
And
things
that
that
has
we
got to
need
be
to
by
discuss.
agreement.
a lot of people get so caught up in the honeymoon phase of a relationship.
Yes,
I mean, let's admit it.
Yes. We spend
Boy,
so
oh
much
my
for
God.
the wedding.
I'm not even at the wedding yet, Michael.
Yes.
I'm talking about boy meets girl. Oh, he's so nice. She's so nice.
Yes,
Da, da,
yes.
da. He wearing red shirt. That he's wearing plenty stupid things like
Yes,
that.
yes,
You know,
yes.
and I'm not talking about teenagers. I'm talking even adults.
Yes.
You know, oh, you see how he's cut his things that are really of no
you know, when you hear people
significance.
boast about, oh, we had 450 people in our wedding and so on, as though that makes the marriage.
Yes.
It doesn't make the marriage.
doesn't,
In
eh?
fact, many times your loan lasts longer than the marriage.
I know.
So therefore,
yes.
it is not
the
the
ring,
bigness of it.
The ring.
The ring is bigger than the love.
Yes, and you're still paying for the ring and divorced.
Yes.
You know, so it's crazy. So those are things that you really need to look at. Do you think that some people just settle or hope they could change the person? We talked a little about that before. We spoke about that. Change the person. That's why they don't want to discuss those life issues.
From whose standpoint? Who changing whom?
For example, let's use the woman.
Yes.
She sees particular qualities in the man, and she's hoping, well, I don't really want to talk about that.
Yes.
She might not even verbalize it in her mind. She's saying, I don't want to talk about it. He will change. You know.
Women are the fix-it type.
Right.
They've got to put things
Yes.
in order. They've got to tell the man how to dress, where to go, what time to come home, how to behave as a father. So she fixes things.
Right.
And so she goes into that role of trying to change a man.
Yes.
You find also a man tries to change a woman to think like a man, and a woman doing the same to cause him to behave like a woman. And we'll exhaust ourselves.
When you say a man trying to change a woman to think like a man, in what way?
We are very logical, straightforward. We don't put too much emotion into a situation.
Right.
So there is an incident with our child. And it is easy for a man to tell the child, listen, if you don't take my word, I will put you out. Straightforward. A woman tempers that with passion and so on. So the man interprets that as that is why the child is like that.
Okay.
The child is spoiled because the woman is spoiled. And then she is saying that is why he's going to be arrogant because you are being arrogant. You see, so we operate on two different wavelengths. So it is finding that neutral ground, that middle ground, that the man can be masculine in the way we carry out without becoming harsh, and the woman can be feminine, bringing that temperance of forgiveness and mercy and so on, without at the same time being soft.
Great, excellent. I love this where you said it is better to walk before you give your heart than to walk away leaving your heart behind.
Yes.
Just elaborate on that.
You see, because, and especially with women, I think it is, a woman loves with her heart. And early in the game, the woman is prepared to commit her love and admit her love. Men need to be given good reason to love. So we don't love early in the game.
Yes.
So we don't surrender. So you'll find that out of the two sexes, who gets hurt more often would be the woman. Because most times, she tends to leave her heart behind.
Yes.
Because she gets into a relationship, she gives it her all. And then it's broken, and she's got to go on to another one, and it's broken again. So she leaves a trail of broken pieces in her way.
Yes.
But a man doesn't give the heart early in the game. He may break up with the girl, but his heart is not broken in many cases. He may be disappointed, but he's not heartbroken. And so what it is necessary to do before you even get into a relationship, to give your heart, get to know the person, both sides. And there's a song that says, take time to know her.
But we are on the same page because I was just thinking about that song, you know, take time to know her.
Take time to know her.
Yes.
Over a period of time. And then at the point that you feel that you have known the person long enough by watching them, and one of the things to know whether the person is who they are is consistency in behavior.
Right.
They must be consistent in the way how they have been operating over a period of time. Because we are all hypocrites.
Yes.
By the term hypocrite, I mean we pretend.
Of course.
Right?
Especially in a relationship, you know. I was listening to this elder gentleman saying that what men don't understand, you have a wife and they want to have a girlfriend. And they say, my wife don't do this and my wife don't look this way. But the girlfriend knows when you're coming over and she get all prettied up and powdered up and ready for you. So, of course, she's pretending. You know, she's playing a role that you want her to play anyway.
We all play.
You show people
we have
what...
a presentation of self in public life.
Of course, yeah.
And so we need to give the person a chance for that fake self to dissipate, so that the true self can start to come to the fore.
And that could only happen with time and when they get comfortable.
Courtship is the purpose that people have to be able to help people to unravel all of those pretenses.
But do you think that people take time today to really court, as a long time we would say in our, we say courting?
We're doing love, and that's why we just need to step back long enough to breathe. Catch ourselves and say, listen, is it that my head is under the influence?
Yes.
So that we can be able to just step back long enough and watch on myself and say, let me listen to the people around me. Because sometimes our friends hinting to us, girl, you're becoming lightheaded. Boy, you're being taken for a ride.
Yeah.
Or parents talking to us. But we ignore everybody.
Yeah.
Because we feel we know it. And then we get into it, and sometimes we're too ashamed to go back to say, I made a fool of myself.
Yes.
So we stick it out just because we're too embarrassed.
Wow, and that's kind of dumb, eh? Because that's your life you're talking about. But you said here too, hindsight has 20/20 vision. You also get it right when you look back. Sometimes it's too late and quite often very costly.
Yes.
So we're talking here about divorce and all that.
Every time you look back, you always have the answers. I should not have.
Yeah,
I
saw that,
known.
you know.
Yes.
I saw that.
So that's why it's always clear in the hindsight. So we've got to train ourselves to look ahead.
Yes.
Can I live with this person with this fault down the road?
Right.
Don't look back and say, listen, you know, I should have really picked up the way we did. You and the boy courting, you and the girl courting and so on, you're seeing issues of anger problems.
Yes. Violence.
Yes. They may not hit you. You know, and I met somebody some time ago, and they were fighting in Scarborough. And she said while they were fighting, and she's crying and so on, and he said, you know, they just married. You see? But she said she should have known that because he threatened it before they were married.
Yes.
But she didn't read the signs. Right? So if somebody raises their hand, I better, but don't hit you, and you are courting.
Yeah. Or even that rough play thing,
yes.
you know.
Ask yourself, does the person have the propensity to hit?
Great. And even a simple thing as, I don't like your friends, I don't like you talking to this one, I don't like, you know, that kind of control. These are some things that,
you can't go by your mother, you can't go by your
I find it too
family.
close to the family kind of thing.
Because one partner may grow up disconnected from family life. So they can't see why you so much need to speak with your family every day. Great. Why did you need to pass and see how they're going? Why did you need to give them money to be able to help them? Because there's no connection in the family, and the person cannot see that, they can't associate it.
Yes.
And again, it shows therefore that if we spend the time, we'll be able to pick those clues up.
Yeah, and you know, in your own life, sometimes you say, "Thank God I dodged that bullet." So chapter 3 talks about the vacuum.
Yes.
So I love the thing, the vacuumous relationship.
Yes.
I didn't mean to rewrite your chapter though. Right? What is that exactly?
The vacuum is that emptiness that we have inside of us, and as long as somebody feels a void and emptiness inside of them, we as human beings move to fill that void. And the areas of void are emotional emptiness. I need somebody that I could emotionally connect to, somebody who I could be in tune with. If your spouse is not providing that emotional connection through their listening ability, through their ability to be considerate, then you feel as though you don't have any value in their life. Somebody comes along and gives you that notice, gives you that attention, gives you that listening ear, that consideration, that empathy to your feeling. You do not want to be drawn towards it, but you end up having to gravitate towards them and having this passion for the person because the person has made you feel emotionally connected.
Yes.
Sometimes there's a financial vacuum that you are in situation of destitution, and you are not in a position that you're feeling this financial freedom. And we are not saying that every family and every couple, you must have money and you must have financial freedom. But there's a certain basic thing that the person must know, that you are concerned about my financial situation. And if the person shows no concern about that, and that financial need is supplied elsewhere, you could very well find that the person goes elsewhere. And I think it was Shadow who sang, if you're working nowhere, you're looking for horn. And then there's the
horn is no laughing matter.
Trust me. And there's the issue of the sexual vacuum.
Yes.
That if the person is not able to satisfy you, or you don't feel satisfied, probably the better term, you don't feel satisfied in the sexual encounter, that you could very well find yourself drawn to somebody who fills that sexual vacuum.
Yes. And so it's financial, emotional, and the sexual, right?
Yes.
You know, this book is so fantastic. And just before we wind up, there's also that chapter on baggage. Quickly, if we could just touch on that,
Yes.
the baggage.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
too much baggage.
And that's why they said the statistics show that 50% of relationships fail, 60% of second marriages fail, and 70% of third marriages fail. They are saying it's because of the baggage that you brought out of the first marriage that failed.
Yes.
You tell yourself, this second person is not going to get away with what that first person did. So you bring that, and you are looking to make sure that they don't fool you, they don't hurt you, they don't betray you as the first one. And then that fails because you really wrecked it. Because sometimes you see things that are not there. And then you go into a third marriage and you say, this one, the last two got away, and certainly this third one would not. And you continue to just leave a trail of broken because you have too much baggage.
Too much baggage. So we need to leave all that baggage.
There are people with baggage of hurt, of incest, rape, issues of a dysfunctional home, as we said, that they came from. So all of that make them uncomfortable with who they are. There are people who are not comfortable with themselves, and all of that just comes in. Each person would have baggage,
Yes.
But some people have more baggage than others. Much more than their fair share.
Great.
They should be charged for overweight.
Wow, Michael, thank you so
Pleasure,
very much for being
always.
here with us. It is always great to have you. And this was part 1 of 4 reasons why relationships fail. We would be doing part 2, and that's how you can make yours succeed. So we'll be doing part 2. So ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please, I don't even have to say please. I know you're excited from what you heard today. I know you will go out and purchase this book. So when we do part 2, you really would be on board with us.
They can call the office.
And they can call you. Please give us a number. 635-1801
if you need a copy of the book. That's 1 out of 3 books that I've written.
Yes. You know, so we will be doing part 2 on it, because you had the 4 reasons why relationships fail, and now you can know how you can make yours succeed. Thank you so very much for viewing. I am Sean Defense Daniel. Thank you for watching TLC. Bye-bye.
I want a heart that forgives, a heart full of love, one with compassion just like